Alright, we did the negative version of this. Let's flip it and make it positive. Here's a list of items your players absolutely deserve to get in your Dungeons & Dragons game. First up, we have a bit of a dark horse, and that I've never seen anyone else use it, but it's one of my favorites to give to players because it means I can rough them up a little more. A healing item, Kegotum's Restorative Ointment, or Kegotum's Ointment. Can we get a pronunciation check on that? I find Restorative Ointment is a reliable substitute for healing potions because you do get 1d4 plus 1 usages out of every pot, and it restores 2d8 plus 2, better than most low-level healing potions. It also removes the poison condition, and the old version used to remove disease, two effects that you barely ever used as a dungeon master, I'm certain. The funny thing about Restorative Ointment is that I keep running into players that want to play a healing class without having to roll up a caster like a cleric or a druid or a bard. They fumble around with the idea of healer's kits and medicine checks when the Restorative Ointment is right there. A simple check to allow your players to work up a recipe and make some restorative ointment, and you have your field medic ready to go. Just a little bit of aloe vera on that cut off arm and you're right as rain. Think of it as the cream version of the first aid spray from Resident Evil. No party should be without. Next up, we have the Bag of Tricks. Hey kid, you like Pokemon? I got Pokemon in this bag right here. Now, the Bag of Tricks is a magical bag full of fuzzy objects, and at any time, the user can reach into the bag, grab a fuzzy object, and chuck it out to reveal an animal. And depending on the type of vet bag, you roll on a different table to create a different animal. And overall, depending on the level of bag that you get, with, of course, the strongest bag being the tan bag, you can create quite the powerful menagerie. The animals act as most summon companions, perceiving you and your party members as friendly and responding to any bonus action commands that you give them. Besides that, they would act as they naturally do. They cannot die when they are reduced to 0 hit points, they simply disappear, and can be resummoned again when you throw out another fuzzy object from the bag. So yeah, 3 fuzzy balls, instant menagerie, replenishes at dawn, what's not to love? Good for parties that don't quite have enough players in there to fully fill it out, so you need to fill it out with a couple of animal companions to even out the CR. Next up, another favorite of mine, the dragon masks. Now there's one of these for each of the different chromatic dragon types. They're a holdover from the Tyranny of Dragons module, which was released back in 2014 when 5th edition first came out, which at this point seems like ancient times. The dragon masks are all bangers. There's not a bad one in the bunch. I absolutely love to give them out to my players. They do have some common traits among them, things like if you have dragon breath, it makes your dragon breath a little bit better. It gives you draconic sight so that you can see in the dark and you get a little bit of blind sight. Also gives you the ability to understand draconic and gives you advantage on charisma checks against dragons of the same color of the mask. It also gives you another ability that enhances whatever element is associated with the particular color of dragon. And my absolute favorite trait of the dragon masks is if you are resistant to an ability associated with dragon masks. So for example, if you have the blue dragon mask and you are already resistant to lightning, then wearing the blue dragon mask will make you not only immune to light. If you are struck with lightning damage, you then regain hit points equal to half the amount of damage you would have normally taken. There's not a lot of items that will do this, and it's kind of a neat perk of the masks if you can match them up with existing resistances. Yeah, there's a whole lore bit where there's a mask for each of the chromatic dragon types, and if you knight them, it makes a big crown of the Dragon Queen Tiamat, but you don't have to use that part. Next up, we have the Storm Boomerang. Nobody knows about this weapon. It is so hidden, so tucked away. It is found on one NPC in the Princes of the Apocalypse campaign and can be looted by other players. But if you tweak it a little bit, I kind of love it as a low-level magical item for somebody who needs a ranged option. Basically, the Storm Boomerang has the ability to invoke elemental air into the boomerang, causing it to deal an additional 3d4 thunder damage in addition to the 1d4 of damage it already does. does. And then whatever is struck by the boomerang needs to make a 10 Constitution saving throw or be stunned until the end of next turn, and the boomerang returns to the owner's hand. Now, normally the way it is written, the item will only recharge the stun ability when the boomerang is placed near an elemental air node. That, however, is a circumstance that's very specific to the Princes of the Apocalypse adventure. You could just as easily have this recharge every day and have it a once-a-day effect, and it's a very good low-level magical item for players. Next up, Wondrous figurines. I love Wondrous figurines, and here's the thing about Wondrous figurines. You don't have to just use the ones they give you. It's the easiest magical item to create. Simply link an existing beast with a type of stone and you have your Wondrous figurine. It doesn't even have to be a stone, there's a gold one. They also serve as great plot hooks. I went into this a little bit in a short, but Wondrous figurines are actually created from real live animals in the world. We see the creation once in a collection of short stories from the Forgotten Realms books, where we see a beautiful, strong female Black Panther put into a small figurine that eventually finds its way to Drizzt Do'Urden. So we know that every Wondrous figurine that exists was created in this way. They detail the intense magical ritual that is required. So you can give a backstory to the animal inside the Wondrous figurine that you give to your party. Maybe they're released in a town and find an old master or an old enemy. Wondrous figurines are great. Match up any animal with any stone or element or metal and you can create a Wondrous figurine of your own that serves your campaign however you need it to. The creatures summoned by the Wondrous figurines do have their own thoughts and wills, and if they have particularly strong wills, they have been known to fight back against orders that they do not agree with. While holding the figurine, the creature is magically compelled to obey whatever orders you give it. That doesn't necessarily mean it agrees with you or likes you. So there's a ton of mileage that you can get out of these Wondrous figurine pets, depending on what kind of animal that they are. In addition to the storytelling potential that the perfect companion for a party that's always too afraid to bring their pets into the dungeon for fear of what might happen to them, because the Wondrous figurine creature can never die. And after they've been lulled into that sense of security, you can have the villain steal the figurine. Next up is a bit of a personal favorite of mine, and honestly the best thing that came out of Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, the Pyroconverger. This is a kind of personal flamethrower that can be handed on to your favorite little chaos gremlin who's not so good with magic, and what it does is it shoots a 10-foot cone that causes 4d6 fire damage unless you make the dex save. But it has a little bit of a twist. Every time you use it, there is a chance that it can explode, and the more times in a day that you use it, the chances of it exploding become even greater. I kind of love this mechanic. It's so unique, it really doesn't show up in anything else. And I almost think it's a better way to do wild magic that would result in more wild magic triggers. But maybe that's just me. Going back to the Pyroconverger, I mean, it's a personal flamethrower that might explode. What more do you need? This is kind of awesome right out of the box. I don't know if there's much else I can say about it. Next up, Marvelous Pigments. I absolutely love Marvelous Pigments because it is such a great item to give to your players and have absolutely no idea what they're going to do with it. It's simply not for the faint of heart. These Wondrous Pigments allow you to use the paint inside to create any inanimate object. You can paint doors or terrain features or new walls, obstacles, jars, whatever you like. And after you're done painting them, they become real. It's a pretty unique and interesting item, and it's one of those kind of creativity toys that you can hand off to players to see what they can really do with it. I mean, it basically gives you Looney Tunes powers, and I can't think of a single person that wouldn't love to have just a little bit of Looney Tunes powers. Alright, next up is the Bead of Force. Another one for the Pokemon fans. This is basically a Pokeball that you can throw at anything. Simply toss this small black bead at any one target, and it will burst, releasing releasing a small amount of force damage and encircling your target in an unbreakable sphere for a moderate amount of time, which they can then push around as a hamster ball. It's fun for the whole family. I really like beads of force. I try to give a couple out in a lot of my campaigns because then the players are always a bit concerned about when to use them. If you give them too much, everything's going in spheres. On top of that, the restrictions on the spheres and the save for the spheres are restrictive enough that it will keep your players from using them on your biggest, baddest foes. Beads of force are fun. And on the subject of confinement, the iron bands of Bilaro. It looks like a rusty sphere full of these iron sheets, but when you throw it at somebody, it unravels and wraps around them and restrains them. Unless they can make a DC 20 athletics check. Particularly, I just really like the imagery of the bands of Bilaro. I like the idea of chucking this 1-pound steel ball that unravels into these iron ribbons and wraps around somebody. It's very interesting. It makes me think of that one scene from Doctor Strange. Okay, last one on my list is a little bit of a mean one, but I just love it as a plot hook and something to drive your characters crazy. The Infernal puzzle box. This one's easy to miss. It came out in the Descent into Avernus adventure module, and really I haven't seen it crop up a whole lot since then, but I just find it endlessly fascinating as a plot hook. The item is exactly what it says in the label. It is a puzzle box with infernal power. You can insert any item into it and the box will magically seal. Once the box is sealed, there is a trick to reopening it. Now, if they know the trick, they can open the box as an action. Simple and easy. But if they don't know the trick, they can instead spend 1 hour trying to work out the puzzle on the puzzle box by making a DC 30 investigation check. If they succeed, they figure out the trick and open the box. If they fail, they need to make a wisdom saving throw or take 12d6 psychic damage, half as much on a successful save. This is what is known as a campaign maker item. Your players will want to open this box. It doesn't matter what's inside. You can build a whole plot about trying to find out the trick to opening the box, and there's tons of joy to be found the first time your players try to make that DC 30 investigation check and literally blow their minds. So that's my list. These are items that I think you should definitely give out to your players at the next available opportunity. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and if you would like to receive some of these magical items from me personally, you can hop on over to startplaying.games, where I have a number of campaigns open just waiting for players like you, or you might find something else you enjoy there. Thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know the magical items that are must-haves for your campaigns, and we'll see you all in the next video. Until then, puck out.